So in Madhya Pradesh, what we have is we have the basic foundations for very high quality urbanization from a service delivery perspective. So we have multiple cities over here that have very highly rated in their sanitation, in their power supply, in their maintenance of roads and the way things actually work. But what we are looking at in urbanization is actually absorbing all the excess workers that are going to come from the agricultural sector. And for that, it is not just the commercial like retail, etc. We have got to create engines of employment in these cities, and we have got to also improve the quality of living in these cities while not letting the costs and inefficiencies rise. Generally, when you have urbanization of a fixed area and it grows in terms of its size, in a nuclear formation, you tend to start getting congestion. Now, people think that congestion, 10 million mein congestion, bahut ho gaya, it's too many people. But those same problems of congestion were there when these cities were at 1 million, where roads would not move, they'd get jammed. So a lot of these are actually designed issues, they're integration issues. It's how you integrate land users, how you vary these land users, how you mix these land users. A lot of early cities you will find the sort of living, the residential area was sometimes on top of the commercial area. You look at Jaipur, even in Delhi, Connaught Place, Khan Market, which are today fully commercial, there used to be residential on top, etc. So localizing for some functions and centralizing for some functions and putting in strong enough infrastructure to support high density, so a large part of your city experience can be walkable. So these are the various things you can do to actually increase those efficiencies of cities, create those efficiencies of agglomeration that happen as cities grow tremendously, because there are some functions that require very, very big scale to have those functions. It's 1 in a million kind of roles and jobs that have created now in the modern world. So to do that, we need to get to some scale of the city, but make sure we don't get the problems that are historically associated with that. Congestion of traffic, pollution, other kinds of issues, and creating public space, which is green areas where people can do it, areas that are fairly secure, creating mobility solutions that are seamless, fast, quick, and then from one city to the other city, connecting them, because a city is not made up of people born in that area. The vast majority have come from outside, other countries, other states, other cities, or the same state. So creating that mobility and connectivity for that city. So all of that is what goes into creating an integrated city. And then the way you plan it, the public areas, the private areas, the green areas, the wild forest areas, how you manage water through most of the cities. Most cities are located close to a water source of some sort. All of that is what makes a city really special. And creating the engines of employment in that city is also a very important factor. Outside of the retail consumption story, which will happen in any city, the other 3-4 drivers, whether it's pharma, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's services, all of that. So what you would have found as a recurring problem in India is that we actually have very, very poor data. And our data, even for urbanization, all of these data we're talking about is the 2011 census. So every 10 years we're collecting data to let us know. We don't have any real feel in real time of what's going on. So what happens when you go digital is, one, that your quality of data starts improving and we can start doing things more frequently, it's also a process change, modification that will need to happen to make sure that things work well over there. But that starts creating data in real time, and it makes policymakers, makes it much easier for them to respond. The other thing that digital does is it improves service delivery. So a lot of us go and we spend a lot of time in lines and queues, whether it's a driver's license, whether it's paying a bill, whether it's some other issue that you have. The moment you start getting digital in, a lot of this waste within a city is eliminated. And that service delivery, which of course Madhya Pradesh is a leader in overall, can improve further with better penetration of digital. But many cities around India are adopting digital. Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, for many, many functions. And that starts improving the quality of experience of people, because things happen without going. They save you journeys, reduce the trips, make a city far more efficient. So I think that's a very good question. Mumbai is in reaction mode to the density that has already created, the efficiencies that are already created, the engines of employment that are already created. So they are in react mode. So in that react mode, you're seeing the big announcement that happened of slum redevelopment, Dharavi, in situ, greening of areas, sea reclamation, new link roads that are coming, the longest kind of sea links that are around. Things like that are reactions rather than proactive sort of approaches, because the population is already there and the city continues to grow. So we'll respond in that way, but there is history in that city. There are areas that are green, and as you watch this institute development, you're claiming new green areas, etc., and you're improving connectivity. When you look in Madhya Pradesh, the big opportunity is that the level of density is very low. The city size is very small. So if we know that these cities are going to be leaders in the future, they're going to go from 1 million to 3 million or to 5 million, we can design it in the right way. We can make sure that these green areas are preserved. We can ensure that before a slum happens and formal development happens, that we formalize it, including the plan. We can ensure that there's appropriate mixed-use development, that you provide for commercial, you provide for office, you provide for residential in such a way that you minimize travel right across the whole city, only for people that their needs are not satisfied within the zone they are in. So there's a lot that can be done in Madhya Pradesh today, and we are, I think I'm very excited for the prospects for Madhya Pradesh in ensuring that they learn from the mistakes everybody else has made, and have developed in a much better way than having to land up reactionary like some of our other older cities that were too slow to act. So Madhya Pradesh, it's very difficult to find a similar state to Madhya Pradesh. It's a very large landmass. It is located in the center of India, but there isn't a single employment driver in Madhya Pradesh outside of agriculture. So it is still dominantly an agricultural economy. The past decade, agriculture's percent GDP has gone up. So the opportunities are there for them to select the industries of the future, whether it's through a PLI, whether it's through some other means to make these choices. When you look at other landlocked states, because landlocked states are different from the coastal states, as you've rightly sort of suggested that it's, when you said that Madhya Pradesh is different, I assume that you mean landlocked relative to those others and not a capital of the country. So then you can look at a place like Haryana. You can look at the massive urban development that's happened over there, urbanization that's happened there through, not just Gurgaon, but also it's Sonipat, Faridabad more industrial. Sonipat is actually an education city. Your Ashoka University, your OP Jindal. So there are various ways you can differentiate. Similar things are happening in a state like Uttarakhand when you look at a Dehradun. So a lot of hospitals coming up, a lot of old age homes. So Coimbatore, industrial city, now is becoming a center for medical tourism. So choosing these levers has to happen in Madhya Pradesh for different cities, different levels. It's not the same lever throughout. And then automatically you will start seeing the seeds of this evolve. And for a landlocked state, I think the most compelling, especially given its amazing location at the center of India, I think logistics can be one seed, one base seed, and then we can supplement it with some other mixes that are happening now. So the multimodal logistics parks, integrating the railways with the roadways, slightly upgrading some of our airports to greater capacity. All of that is good for an overall logistics framework. But in addition to that, now figuring out what the next areas of comparative and competitive advantage are. And Madhya Pradesh still has that opportunity ahead of itself because there aren't those selections made for it as yet.